All right, welcome in. We are here today with SSD Mythbusters, and we are busting myths one episode at a time. And this is what we do. We take on a topic each week that we hear about or you have questions about. They've either been submitted or we've just heard in your practice. And so what we do is we try and give you all the information that you guys need on this particular topic. And then that way you can make informed decisions and feel like you got all the info you need. So we do it not by me. I am the ignorant host of the show. My name's Jeremy Worley. I just get to present the questions to Josh. He is attorney Josh Worley, SSD lawyer extraordinaire, to answer all of our questions. And if he doesn't give an answer you like, I want you to be mad at him. I'm simply the facilitator
it's
here.
all on me.
Yeah. So today's myth, Josh, is you should list every ailment on your SSD application. I mean, so I tend to be the personality that I'm like, just inundate them with everything going wrong, because in my mind, the more information, the better. The higher my chances are if I just include everything I've ever had. I tend to be that way. But what would you say as my attorney? Should I do that or not?
So I would say this is what you want to do. You want to list every impairment that is medically documented. Okay, so everything that you've got going on health-wise matters in a Social Security disability case. And a lot of times people have big issues that are kind of the dominating issue with their health, and then they've got some additional side issues. If those side issues and the smaller things are documented in your medical records, meaning you've talked to your doctor about these things, and when you pull up your medical records, those things are discussed, then you should list those, and those should be considered on a disability claim. If it is something that you pulled hamstring 5 years ago and that's no longer an issue and you've recovered from that, then certainly don't list those things. If you list things that are not in your medical records, then it can cause your claim to lose a bit of credibility, because you're just kind of throwing everything out there that you've ever had, and you're just kind of seeing what sticks to the wall when you're doing that. That does not do you any good. You should not do that at all. So go through, figure out what you have going on, what have you talked to your doctors about, what is documented, and list those things. And that includes physical and mental issues, depression, anxiety. All of those things matter, and you should list them as long as they're documented.
Okay. And you said something there that made me wonder, because for a lot of people, I think we go to the physical ones. Those seem easier, if you will. I've got this physical condition. And sometimes people are battling both. They do have an emotional, mental condition as well. But I would imagine you've had clients through the years that may say, this has really affected me emotionally, mentally, but maybe I didn't go get treatment, because we're quicker to go get help for the physical issues, but maybe some are slower to go get diagnosed or get treatment for the mental, because they don't necessarily think that way. Have you had clients that have had that situation before, or does that sometimes come up?
I have had clients with those exact issues, and the bottom line, a lot of times the clients that kind of fall into that category, it's very common for someone to have some kind of physical issue that then leads to a struggle with depression, anxiety, and that kind of thing. For those individuals, it's pretty common for them to mention the mental side of things to their primary doctor. And it's kind of treated by the primary physician. You can certainly list those things on a disability claim, but for Social Security to really take those very seriously and to give much weight to them, you really need to be seeing a counselor, a psychiatrist specifically for those things. And so, yeah, to answer the question, you should list those things. Those do come up, and those are important to your disability claim. And even if you're getting treated just by the primary, then you still should list them. For Social Security to really give much weight to them, it really helps to be seeing a specialist specifically to those things, for those things.
It sounds like there's almost a bit of a distinction made between someone that maybe they struggle with just the depression of the inability to work, or just what can follow with physical illness, frustrations, sadness, even stress that leads to anxiety or depression.
Mhm.
It's almost like you're making a bit of a distinction between that and someone that maybe has a bipolar disorder
Sure.
or something that may be a true kind of mental diagnosis. Is that fair to say there's a distinction?
There is a distinction between those two. Certainly, if someone's in that category, then it's more of a dominating issue that they're dealing with their health. For those people where their inability to work, their disability is almost all about the mental side of things, then 100% you've got to be seeing a psychiatrist. You've got to be going to counseling regularly, doing all that, because that's the main focus of the case. So yes, there is a distinction between those two.
Okay.
But don't discount if you're someone that's out there that has got, you've got the main issue is a physical issue, but yet you've got the anxiety, the depression, or whatever that comes with that. That is disabling in and of itself. That can have a pretty significant impact on someone's ability to work. Don't discount that. Don't act like that's nothing. In those situations, for sure, mention it to your primary. Then the primary can refer you to a counselor or a psychiatrist. And if you absolutely have those things going on, but you've really not mentioned it at all, this would be a caveat to the answer to this question. But if you do have anxiety or depression, then I would list that on a Social Security claim, even if you've not really made much of an effort to have that be part of your medical record. If you do list that and you're not really seeing anybody for those things, then Social Security can send you to what they call a consultative examination. And that consultative examination is just an independent doctor specifically in that field that can give an opinion on how you're doing as far as that goes. Those consultative examinations generally are not very helpful on a disability case, but they do send you to someone, and so it can potentially be beneficial to you.
Okay. In the world of personal injury law, there's kind of a saying, if it's not charted, it didn't happen.
Mhm.
This happens sometimes with doctors that will say, oh, well, I checked this patient at the hospital, and you get the medical records and there's no record of them doing it.
Mhm.
And the general saying is, if it's not charted, doctor, if you didn't chart it, then it didn't happen. And I sometimes, when you were saying that, I thought there's kind of some similarities even with the disability law, whether it's fair or not. For people out there listening, they need to know generally if you have these ailments or if you have something, it needs to be supported in the medical records.
100%. It is incredibly important that everything is documented with your doctor, and you need to make sure to make an effort when you go to the doctor. Tell the doctor everything that you've got going on. Mention all of those things, because if you just go into the doctor, and I think a lot of people do this, they get intimidated by going into a doctor. The doctor's in a hurry, doesn't have a whole lot of time. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. If you say that, I'm doing pretty good, I'm kind of hanging in there. Well, then the doctor reports in his records, Mr. Smith reported he's doing great today, or whatever, and then that makes it into the record. Then that works against you in a big way on a disability claim. So it's very important that you tell the doctor everything that you're dealing with. Be straightforward. If you're hurting, tell the doctor you're hurting, but everything must be documented. It is incredibly important to being successful on a disability case.
Yeah, and we live in a world of electronic medical records where I've seen some software that some of these doctors and facilities use,
Mhm.
where if you say I'm doing pretty good, there are occasions where there's buttons that they click that then auto-populate.
Gets repeated over and over and over in the next 12 months of records. It says that. So yes.
And it auto-populate it. If you're doing pretty good, it's auto-populating parts of this record that are totally inconsistent. So
that's exactly right.
You don't need to be Superman. Be honest.
Be honest. Yep.
Okay. All right. So takeaway is you don't necessarily want to list every ailment. Josh has helped us, I think, strike a good balance. But you do want to include as much as you can, and specifically anything that's supported in the records seems to be the takeaway. And if it's not, get that medical treatment. Communicate well with your medical providers, because any slight phrasing, such as Josh gave a good example, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good," which is kind of a generic word we use, but that can have significant implications and can be used against you. So include as much as you can, particularly that can be supported with the records. All right. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. All right. Hopefully you guys found this to be helpful. We have lots of information like this on our website. You can visit us at idlawcenter.com. We are the Injury and Disability Law Center. And Josh has a nationwide disability practice. He helps clients all over the country. So if you need help, give us a call, reach out to us. We'd love to try to help you too. But hopefully you're finding this information, this podcast helpful. We're going to keep doing them. Thanks for joining us.